On May 11, 2017, a young woman named Payton Tutill vanished without a trace in Denver, Colorado. She was just 21 years old, full of life, and loved by her family and friends. Her sudden disappearance kicked off a desperate search and a complex investigation that would uncover a story of betrayal and unimaginable violence. What happened to Payton Tutill? Let's dive into this heartbreaking case. Payton was an energetic and kind-hearted person. She loved hiking, snowboarding, and spending time with her dog, Aspen. Her friends described her as someone who could light up any room. A free spirit with a contagious laugh. She had recently moved to Denver to be closer to the mountains she adored and was working at a local doggy daycare. By all accounts, she was building a happy life for herself. On the night she disappeared, Payton had plans to meet up with a friend. She sent a text message around 10 p.m. But after that, her phone went silent. She never showed up to meet her friend. And the next day, she missed her shift at work. This was completely out of character for Payton. She was reliable and always in contact with her family. Her mother, Dawn, immediately sensed that something was terribly wrong. When calls and texts went unanswered, the family reported her missing. Denver police began their investigation, starting with Payton's last known whereabouts. They learned she had been with her roommate, a 28-year-old man named Tanner Flores. Tanner and Payton had a complicated relationship. They were roommates, but Tanner had developed romantic feelings for Payton that she didn't reciprocate. According to friends, Payton had recently told Tanner she wanted him to move out, which created tension between them. When police questioned Tanner, his story was inconsistent. He initially claimed he hadn't seen Payton since the morning she disappeared. He said she left for work and he didn't know where she went after that. But as investigators dug deeper, his alibi started to crumble. They checked cell phone records, which placed both Payton's and Tanner's phones moving together, traveling south from Denver late on the night she vanished. This directly contradicted Tanner's claim that he didn't know where she was. The search for Payton intensified. Her family and friends organized search parties, canvassing neighborhoods and distributing flyers with her picture. The community rallied around them, hoping for a safe return. Social media was flooded with posts using the hashtag #FindPayton, spreading awareness far and wide. Everyone was holding on to hope. But as days turned into a week, a sense of dread began to set in. The breakthrough in the case came from a remote, rural area in Douglas County, about 40 miles south of Denver. A property owner was checking on their land, which was for sale and supposed to be vacant. They discovered something deeply disturbing. A newly dug-ish, shallow grave. They immediately contacted the authorities. When investigators arrived at the scene, their worst fears were confirmed. They unearthed a body wrapped in blankets. The victim was identified as Payton Tutill. The autopsy revealed the horrific truth. Payton had been shot multiple times. The evidence was overwhelming, and it all pointed to one person. Her roommate, Tanner Flores. Police tracked him down to his family's home in a different county. When they confronted him, he was driving his truck. Inside the truck, they found evidence linking him directly to the crime, including spent shell casings that matched the bullets found in Payton's body. Faced with the mountain of evidence against him, Tanner Flores finally confessed. He told police a chilling story of rejection and rage. He admitted that he was in love with Payton, but she had made it clear she only saw him as a friend and a roommate. The night she disappeared, she had once again told him he needed to move out. According to his confession, this final rejection sent him into a spiral. He told investigators that he convinced Payton to go for a drive with him that night. Under some false pretense, he drove them to a secluded spot, and it was there that he confronted her. When she again rejected his advances, he pulled out a handgun he had brought with him and shot her. He then drove her body to the property in Douglas County, a place he knew was for sale and deserted, and buried her in the shallow grave he had dug. His confession detailed a cold and calculated act. He had planned the murder after feeling spurned by Payton. It wasn't a crime of passion in the heat of the moment, but a premeditated act of violence, born from obsession and an inability to accept rejection. The community was left reeling. How could someone who lived with Payton, someone who was supposed to be her friend, commit such a monstrous act? Tanner Flores was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. The legal proceedings brought more pain for Payton's family as they had to listen to the horrifying details of her final moments. Throughout the trial, the prosecution painted a clear picture of a man who could untangle rejection and chose to take the life of a young woman rather than let her go. His defense attorneys argued for a lesser charge, claiming he acted in a fit of rage, but the evidence of premeditation was too strong, the jury agreed. In 2018, Tana Flores was found guilty of first-degree murder. He received a mandatory sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole. Justice was served, but it could never bring Payton back. Her family was left with a permanent void. Her mother, Dawn, spoke eloquently at the sentencing, describing the immense pain of losing her daughter and the bright future that was stolen from her. She said, "He didn't just take her life, he took a part of all of us." Payton Tutill's story is a tragic reminder of the dangers of obsession and the devastating consequences of domestic violence. Even when it comes from a roommate or a friend, it highlights how quickly a situation can escalate when one person's sense of entitlement turns violent. Payton was a vibrant soul whose life was cut short simply because she said no. We remember Payton for the beautiful person she was: a loving daughter, a loyal friend, and an adventurous spirit who found joy in the world around her. Her memory lives on through the people who loved her and in the stories they share. While the killer will spend the rest of his life behind bars, the real tragedy is that a life full of promise was extinguished far too soon. Thank you for watching and for taking the time to learn about Payton's story. It's important that we remember the victims of these crimes and honor their lives. If you found this story impactful, please consider subscribing for more true crime content. Stay safe out there.